I'm going to show you the two toughest things that the Democrats asked Gorsuch and how he deflected them so easily, right? Now, mind you, these are the toughest. The rest of it was okay, long-winded questions that barely grazed them, but let me show you the best they had.
Here's a live example right now. We have this $10 million that is being spent on behalf of your confirmation. Do you think, for instance, that we on this panel ought to know who is behind that? And, well, answer that and then I'll go on to a related question.
Senator, that's a policy question for this body.
Well, it's also a question of disclosure. You could ask right now that as a matter of courtesy, as a matter of respect to the process, that anybody who is funding this should declare themselves so that we can evaluate who is behind this effort.
Senator,
right? That wouldn't be a policy determination. That would be your values determination.
It would be a politics question. And I'm not, with all respect, Senator, going to get involved in politics.
Okay, I can't stand the smarminess of Gorsuch. And God, the mainstream media loves him. Mika Brzezinski and everyone else. They're like, oh, what a professional. He's so good. He's more right-wing than Antonin Scalia, which makes him a little left of Attila the Hun. But they're like, oh, he can speak in complete sentences. Yes, yes, right? And now, so that was one of the toughest questions that the Democrats asked. And it's a super fair question. Hey, there's secret groups, dark money groups, spending $10 million to make sure they put you on the Supreme Court. Can you just tell us who it is? He's like, that's a political question. No, it's not a political question. They're spending money, they're buying you a seat. Who are they? You're not gonna answer who's buying you this seat? Well, can you not see? Can you at least not see? Because it is very relevant to the job you're about to have if you're on the Supreme Court. That gives the appearance of corruption. Because in Citizens United, they said that there was not even an appearance of corruption. When someone's paying $10 million to put you on the Supreme Court, are you telling me, Gorsuch, that doesn't give the appearance of corruption? That's a political question. No, it's not. It goes to the heart of how you will decide cases like Citizens United. If you're not going to answer that, then we have no information at all on what you're going to do in the Supreme Court. I vote no immediately. If you don't answer a single goddamn question, I vote no immediately. I call for a filibuster right now. Now, you'll never see a Democrat get worked up like that. I mean, Franken got a tiny bit frustrated. He called one of his opinions absurd, to say the least. And the media was like, Al Franken getting out of line. Oh my God, if you saw it.
We're gonna have a conversation about the word absurd being out of line. I mean, in this era, in the Trump era, absurd is the weakest possible insult that you can tell anyone in government right now.
All right, and one final one, here's the, again, these are, I'm not showing you the soft stuff. I'm showing you the hardest that the Democrats have, okay? This is the second toughest question.
If the Republicans had followed the Constitution and practiced, Chief Judge Merrick Garland would be on the Supreme Court today. I also respected you for calling Chief Judge Garland when your nomination was announced. And I understand you respect him as a jurist, is that correct?
Very much so, Senator. Whenever I see his name attached to an opinion, it's one I read with special care. He's an outstanding judge.
Do you think he was treated fairly by this committee, yes or no?
Senators, I explained to you before, I can't get involved in politics. And there's judicial canons that prevent me from doing that. And I think it would be very imprudent of judges to start commenting on political disputes between themselves or the various branches.
Days and days of him saying it's a political question, I can't answer it. But Leahy, at least he brought up the right question, but he framed it all wrong. Was he treated unfairly? No, the question is, do you think that it is the constitutional responsibility of the Senate to confirm justices? That's a constitutional question, that's not a political question. Now, if you say, no, the Republicans were right, they have no constitutional duty to confirm justices, great, I don't confirm you, get the hell out. okay? You just told me that it's perfectly constitutional for me to never confirm any of the justices that a president puts up. If you think that it's unconstitutional, okay, then I have my answer. What the Republicans did last year was unconstitutional. Thank you very much. But he just keeps saying, that's a political question. And the Democrats go, oh, okay, let's go on to the next question. Okay, so look, I don't mind those two questions, but this is not how you effectively and strongly challenge a guy like Gorsuch. I mean, they never, because part of it is, and you gotta understand in Washington, they play patty cakes, so they're so polite to one another. Gorsuch is friends with a lot of these people. He went to the same schools, he goes to, and some of the Obama people were thrilled because they went to school with him that he was nominated. And it doesn't matter that he's to the right of Antonin Scalia and will shred some of our civil liberties, but I do declare he is such a well-spoken gentleman coming from the same circles as us. So you play patty cakes all day long. You think these Democrats are gonna stop these guys? With Mitch McConnell saying, I'm bulldozing him in through April 8th?
They're not. I mean, have they really successfully stopped anyone? I mean, Betsy DeVos. Betsy DeVos is a nightmare. They barely even fought against Betsy DeVos. So anyway.
JusticeDemocrats.com.
Are you sick of the mainstream media? Then I got good news for you. We're gonna hire some investigative reporters and we're gonna go house. We're actually going to investigate what's happening in this country and stand up for you guys. Help us do it. Go to tytnetwork.com/go. If everybody watching this video just gives a little bit of money, we'd have plenty to hire those investigative teams and unleash them on the country.